Right, welcome back to Sky Sports FC. Still to come, we'll build up to Manchester City against Liverpool and analyse Thomas Tuchel's big decisions for the England squad. But now Chelsea have just a point to show from their 5,000-mile round trip to Baku, drawing 2-2 with Qarabag. Enzo Maresca defended, making 7 changes to his starting lineup.
The intention tonight was to rest Enzo, to rest Moy, to rest Malo, to rest more players because they are not able to play every 3 days. They didn't recover from last season. As you said, the Club World Cup affect a lot. And we try to do, we try to rotate when you win. No one mentioned about that.
Right, Charlie, more changes by Maresca and ultimately they dropped 2 points against Qarabag. Did they need to make those changes? It's Wolves at home at the weekend.
I think when you look at it, regardless of it being Wolves at home the weekend, Wolves being bottom of the Premier League, not winning, I think Enzo Maresca's thinking Wolves is a tougher game. Yes, it is the Champions League last night, and they're all tough games there, brilliant across Europe. But I think he's saying the Premier League, that Premier League game is the tougher game, and that's why he's rested them. But also, he's come out and said 3 or 4 of the players can't play the two games in 3-4 days because they can't get back fit because they're still trying to get on terms from the Club World Cup.
Well, maybe this is a reason why Chelsea have been quite inconsistent this season. In terms of the amount of changes that they've made to their starting 11, it's more than any other Premier League club in all competitions, all right? It is 85 changes to the starting 11, well above Liverpool, Arsenal, Brentford and Fulham. I mean, can that have an effect, Charlie?
Of course it can, because people are trying to get a run of form and games after games. But do you know the biggest alarming thing for me also on that? We're going about inconsistent, making all these changes, and they have a young squad. They don't have someone with experience, an old head. We go back to Thiago Silva because he's the biggest player and the biggest example for them. He was phenomenal for Chelsea, but he was someone that got hold of his team and got them over the line because of his know-how and his resilience to play game after game. And the proof's in the pudding. Some of these players so far can't do that.
Well, let's speak live now to a Chelsea fan, Charlie Patrick. Right, Charlie, how disappointed were you with last night?
Oh yeah, it was a massive disappointment, a huge missed opportunity. Once again, it constantly feels like you take 1 step forward and 2 steps back with this team. You put in a good performance against Tottenham, and then you've got an opportunity against Qarabag, who, look, they've done well in the Champions League this season, but whatever team Chelsea put out in that fixture, you should be winning that. There should be no excuses for not getting the job done in a game like that, and we just didn't turn up. I think there's a big mentality problem at the club in terms of the way we approach the smaller games. We all know that Chelsea can on their day turn up and play very well against the top teams and beat the top teams. We've shown that time and again. However, you look at the smaller sides. This season we've played Qarabag, Sunderland, Brighton, Crystal Palace, Brentford and Man United, and not won a single one of those 6 games. That for me is a major problem in terms of the way that we approach these smaller games. I don't know if the team are approaching it with a sense of arrogance, thinking the game's already won in the tunnel before we've kicked a ball, but it's that for me is a problem, and last night was another prime example of that, a game that Chelsea should be winning, and once again we don't put in the performance required to get the job done. So yeah, majorly disappointed, but not really surprised, which I think is a more damning indictment of the situation right now.
I think a lot of Manchester United fans have just broken their TVs by throwing stuff at you on it for adding them into that list. We've been the last week, we've talked a lot with our guests about how important Caicedo is to Chelsea. He didn't start last night and you didn't win last night. How important is he?
I mean, to be fair, he basically played the whole game because Lavia got injured in the first 5 minutes and he came on. So
fair enough in that case.
But the point still stands in terms of, like, you want to give this guy a rest when you can. But obviously Lavia, he can't stay fit. He's not finished the 90 minutes at the club since he joined in the summer of 2023. So that in itself is an issue. But look, we all know that Caicedo, despite the absence of Cole Palmer, he's the most important Chelsea player. He's the one that makes things tick in the middle of the park. He's the one that sets the tempo. And without him, yeah, we do have issues. I mean, you only have to look at the game against Nottingham Forest, the first half. He didn't start in that game, and we were all over the place. If they'd been better, we would have been a couple goals down at half time. So look, he's the glue that holds this team together. He's our most important player. And he's definitely the one that we can least afford to be without. But having said that, we did have him last night, and we couldn't find a way to get the job done, unfortunately.
Charlie, you missing that experience old head pro, etc. You say about the lesser teams that you play, you reeled off the names, etc. But you're missing that experienced player, defender, to real grab hold of the team by the scruff of the neck. Not necessarily go and win the game for them, like be the match winner, but get hold of the team, get the team in. And if there is that arrogance in the tone, as you mentioned, stamp that out, because I see Chelsea as a young squad, a young developing team, and they're almost there. Everyone constantly says about, oh, I need a new goalkeeper. For me, the biggest standout is you need a bit of experience, whereas one or two players just to be able to get you over that line mentally.
I mean, look, I think the experience thing is fair to a degree, but I look
reflecting
at
the team's growing chemistry and hunger to secure another vital league victory.
Now, he's an experienced player. Cucurella, Euros winner, 27 years of age. You've got Enzo Fernandez, a World Cup winner in the middle of the park. He's got 23, 24 now.
So if they're the experienced players like that, like you've just named, and rightly so, fair point. But if they're the experienced players, surely they've got to do something to stamp that. If you're saying there's that arrogance in there,
they absolutely do, and I think that's a fair point, and that's set from the top, right? But I would also argue that, in fairness, I think the issue that Chelsea have got right now is that the squad is not good enough in terms of the rotation players that are coming in. You're not going to be able to play your best 11 every single week. So for me,
your squad should beat Qarabag, Charlie.
Oh no, it absolutely should. And like the team that went out last night was more than good enough to beat Qarabag. But in general, I think the issue that we're seeing right now is that we're struggling to manage Champions League and Premier League because we're making 6, 7, 8 changes every single week, and we're acting like we're still in the Conference League when we're not, and you cannot get away with that at Champions League level, no matter what level of opposition you're playing. So I think it's a quality issue. Yes, the squad is better in terms of there's more options than there was last season, but the reality of the situation is that the guys that came in last night, they weren't able to do a job against Qarabag, and that's really, really concerning. You want to rest players. Caicedo's on after 5 minutes, and you're making a triple substitution at half time with Enzo Fernandez, Garnacho, and I can't remember the other guy that come on, and you're having to throw the big guns on to try and get a result against Qarabag. That for me is where the main issue is that simply the players that have come into the squad and the rotation options, they're simply not up to business right now.
Yeah, it was the lap that came on as well. Charlie, thank you.
Cheers, thanks guys.
Is Chelsea's joint top scorer this season, and another goal. Just how good was that touch and finish?
Yeah, it's very good. But even second half when he didn't score, but he created many chances, it's a huge player. Yeah.
And just finally, is there any update on Romeo Lavia's injury?
No, not yet. Not yet. We'll see in the next hour.
Sum that up for me.
It's disappointing to sum up. Come in here, we wanted to win. We felt, we set up strong. We made 2 errors that led to, a penalty and a goal that we gifted them. And then, to get back in the game is difficult. Their fans were quite good tonight. The pitch was, difficult to play, but, this is something we, expected and didn't quite adapt to.
Did the defending in your box need to be better tonight?
No, I think if you look, over the course of the season, if you look at the goals we've conceded, have probably, they haven't been amazing play. They've more been, our mistakes, and that's something, we need to improve and try and cut out.
Obviously, let's talk about the first goal, because I want to talk about Estevao. He's Chelsea's joint top scorer this season. I mean, you guys in the team must be buzzing with his impact.
No, he's an amazing player. He has the world at his feet. He's obviously still so young, so we need to protect him and keep him healthy. He has a lot of development still to come, but no, we are super happy with him here.
After the goal, what do you feel like did or maybe didn't happen to allow them back into the game, or was it just a case of 2 mistakes led to 2 goals?
No, I think 2 mistakes led to 2 goals, and it's difficult when momentum in the game changes. We simply didn't do enough. We had a few chances that we didn't take. But no, we have ourselves to blame.
What was Enzo's message to you at half time? Because when you came out in the second half, there was much more intent, it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to disclose what he said, but no, the message was clear from him. Is one half of football. We still had half the game, to turn the game around, and we tried, and no, today wasn't enough.
Have you seen the handball decision that was given against Hato? Have you got any opinions on it?
No, I haven't watched it back. I haven't seen it. No, I have no comment on it.
You speak about of the match. the impressions?
Yeah, I think it was a tough game. We always try to win, but yeah, we are not happy because we are Chelsea and we should win all the games. So.
Your impressions of the goal?
Yeah, I think I came on and I tried to help the team, but it's not important for me. I think the important thing is to win the game, and we didn't win today, so it means nothing.
They've been inconsistent, haven't they, this season, Chelsea? And Reece James there talking about mistakes. You don't want to put any one particular player away and put all the blame on his shoulders, but it was definitely a match to forget for Gerald Hatto.
Yeah, it was, and Chelsea got themselves into a good position, and they made a number of changes, 7 changes, again, average age just 23 years and 97 days. And when you're making that many changes and bringing in young players, inevitably they may make mistakes, and they were very comfortable at the moment of this game, Chelsea. And you know, if you see Caicedo's off the pitch, Chelsea are a man down as Lavia was injured, Caicedo about to come off the pitch, and Hatto was looking for his left back in that moment. He wasn't there. He just needed to come out and play sensible. He didn't need to be getting himself a bad pass and getting into that moment, and that rocked him, you know, having to react to that. Then he follows it up with this mistake, with another difficult situation, bad pass, and again Durant put him under pressure from that moment because he knew he was a little bit nervous. He knew he was the man to attack, and they go out and perform. It was a tough night for the young man.
Stephen, it's been across the whole season, this inconsistency in terms of selection, because they've made Maresca's made 85 changes, which is 16 more than any other team in the Premier League, across all competitions. But that is reflected in their results, isn't it?
It is. There's just an inconsistency, and I think we expect them to perform at a higher level, and at the moment they're just not quite doing that. I agree with Leon, what Leon just said there. The one thing that when you make changes is you need experienced bodies in the field to maybe manage the younger players. But what you want all the time is relationships that you're building throughout the season. But you also need a level of fitness throughout the season as well. And some of the players that are coming in haven't played enough games, so they don't look sharp, and it just has a knock-on effect throughout the team. And as Reece James says, you'll make mistakes off the back of that.
Do you think the Club World Cup finals got anything to do with this in terms of, you know, how late their season went on, or how early their season, kind of their pre-season, then had to start?
Yeah, I don't think we'll know the full effects of it until the end of the season, but I know that the data is probably very low on the teams that have been there. They're probably, a lot of them are in the fatigue zone, more so than they will be at this time of the season.